everybody, and welcome to another episode of HPCritical, podcast where friends and I talk all things gaming. I'm Pharrell, and I am joined by Gabe.
Good evening, everybody.
Greysun.
Hi, I'm actually to your right on my screen, but okay.
And Brandon. I don't want to give you a thumbs down. I'm sorry.
What's up, everyone?
There we go. If you guys are listening or watching right now, you will know that Kellie is not here. She's on vacation. So Kellie, we love you and we hope you have a great time.
It's her turn to be gone this time, but I'm back.
Yeah, Brandon was gone last week. Kellie's gone this week. Gabe was gone before that. Soon it's gonna be my turn, and they're gonna host a podcast without me. And
I guess so.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I'm literally gonna be like watching in the recording as it happens because I can't trust them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. They would probably do a better job without me, honestly.
I don't think so, but
That's
anyway.
a big tell.
Oh, you guys, I'll take it as a compliment. So yeah,
Please
Kellie's
do.
not here, but Greysun was wonderful enough to join me. So before I start, yesterday, Greysun and I participated in a lovely video game trivia competition. I did not lose with 0 points, is what I will say. Greysun did beat my ass, but in my defense, I didn't know the answer to half those fucking questions because
those questions were hard.
and
Even on chat, while I was on chat, I was only able to like have some. It's like, what the hell is this Cheetos game?
I'd never seen that in my life, but thank you for everyone who came out to watch it. I'll probably include the link to it in there so you can hear Greysun beat my ass at trivia, which we knew he would, and that's okay because we still love him. So obviously the biggest thing that I want to talk about is the current Blizzard Activision lawsuit that's going on, California versus Blizzard. So first things first, I'd like to do a very quick trigger warning for anybody listening to this. There's some sexual harassment stuff. There's suicide, racism, sexism, misogyny, all that great stuff tied into, and by great I mean horrible stuff tied into one. So we're going to talk about it just for a little bit. And then we're going to move on. It's probably only going to be about 15-20 minutes. I'll make another announcement when it's over for anyone who wants to just skip through this. But of course, the biggest news piece right now is the lawsuit against Blizzard. So have you guys seen any of the parts of the lawsuit at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I read through
I've seen
the whole thing for the most part.
Okay, so since you guys are pretty, knowledgeable on the subject, I'm not going to go into too much, but I will say that there are some situations that included and I'm gonna summarize it a little bit. I don't actually want to read from it if that's okay with you guys. There is a specific situation in which I'm going to pull up right now. There was a harassment lawsuit for a defendant that was allowed to fester in their offices. A female employee committed suicide while on a company trip due to a sexual relationship that she had been having with her male supervisor. So we have obviously right out the bat someone who was so uncomfortable and being sexually harassed that she ended up committing suicide on a company trip at Blizzard. There was also a report of African-American women who were being treated completely unfairly throughout the entire situation. We also have, I actually don't know that I want to go into this too much.
Do you want to provide links maybe to those who want to read through? Okay.
No. So I will actually do a little bit of this. So it does say in another example, a female employee who worked for Blizzard was assigned to a lower level, denied equal pay, and passed over for a promotion despite multiple factors that suggested she earned it. Highly rated performance reviews. She generated significantly more revenue in her marketing campaign than her male counterpart, and she ran almost twice as many campaigns as her male counterparts. Despite the accomplishments, her male counterpart was invited to have monthly or weekly one-on-one meetings with the vice president. She was not afforded the same opportunities and unsurprisingly was passed over for promotion in favor of her male counterpart. Similarly, other female employees at Blizzard Entertainment were assigned to lower level roles, denied equal pay, and further delayed or passed over for promotions in favor of male counterparts who lacked the same experience or qualification, but who were friends with the male head of the unit. A newly promoted male supervisor delegated his responsibilities to his now female subordinate in favor of playing Call of Duty. Other male supervisors would refuse to communicate with female employees, going to their male counterparts for information. That's all I'm going to talk about right now, because I feel like that kind of encompasses a lot of what this lawsuit is about. But what I want to talk to you guys about is there's a specific situation when things like this happen, that has to do with a business that allows this type of activity to go on such a large scale, on such a large scale, just in general. So my question for you guys is, do you think that this was, and obviously you can tell me however you feel about it, but do you think that this was something that could have been prevented? And if so, how? And also, do you think that this is something that is an example of a community fostering, or a people fostering the type of community that they make? And by that, to elaborate on that, just so I can explain what I mean, do you think that this is like, Call of Duty? You guys know how toxic Call of Duty is, right? Do you think that that toxicity trickles down from the business portion? Like, do you think that because of the way that this working environment is set up, do you think that could possibly be a cause of why the community is the way it is?
Well, when I think about this entire situation, unfortunately, it's not. Let me put it this way: it's not an uncommon thing for there to be harassment in a workplace, in such like this. But that being said, the fact that we've heard a report or a lawsuit of this magnitude that has gotten this far, that, like, you use the word fester, I think that's very accurate, because it's clearly gotten so bad to the point where, it's become a lawsuit. Like, the sad truth is, it exists in so many workplaces, but it never gets so quote big that it's like looked upon for legal action. The fact that it's unfortunately being noticed now just means that it's gotten so bad that it can no longer be ignored. Not that it should have ever been ignored in the first place, but clearly it's now something that they're paying attention to. And I think it does come from the top in that case, because it's allowed this toxic workplace was allowed to continue and be encouraged, so that even those who wouldn't have dared to step over certain lines felt like they could, because so many people are doing it and just getting away with it, so they can just keep doing this abuse, keep doing this toxic bullshit, and then just not getting punished for any of it. And it's absolutely awful that it's come this way. And maybe this is naivety talking, but like I'm just hoping that a light being shined on this situation with Activision Blizzard, is a fucking wake up call to like so many other companies that is allowing this to happen, or even maybe quote not allowing it to happen, but also turning a blind eye to where it is happening, if that makes any sense.
I was talking earlier to you guys in our chat, because Ubisoft, we were just talking about the situation with Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, and now here we are talking about Blizzard. And I specifically said, for HPCritical, I don't even know if I would like to promote anything happening at those websites, right? Like I don't know how I would feel about, encouraging people to check out what Overwatch is doing next, or what's happening at World of Warcraft, or what's going on with Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty, because this, do you know how, like, I think it is so degrading for someone to talk to you and then for you to just be like, I'm not speaking to you because you're a woman. Go talk to another male so that they can talk to me because I won't talk to you. That is just so, I have no words for how horribly disrespectful that is. And the only other thing I can think about is like, for any stupid ass dude bros like who have shit to talk about, females in gaming, I hope you realize that the women are the ones that are working on these games now, because these guys are sitting around drinking and playing Call of Duty. So like, your favorite fucking game is being made by females and you want to talk shit about it. Like, you have to realize, like, these guys are going to work and doing nothing at all and getting promotions for doing nothing, and all this hard work that's being put into these video games are coming from women. So like, give them the respect that they deserve. I don't want to talk about this anymore, so you guys go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, Gray, before you go. I was going to say, like, I saw a Twitter user comment about saying this is like some Stone Age tactics, where they're having the women do all the work in this case and not getting the credit for it, which is another really bad part about it. But go on, Gray.
It's even crazier because The people that work at these game studios, right? Like this job, that job to them, most of them is probably like a dream come true. You know, it's something that they've wanted for such a long time. And I think that's why you hear so much about harassment at video game studios, because you have people like that. And when they get harassed or if something happens to them, that's not, if what they think is not super serious, they're not going to tell anybody. They're not going to go to HR. They're not going to tell their friends. They're not going to tell the media, because in fear of them being fired, in fear of them being like, whatever, kind of like quote unquote blacklisted, I guess, from like getting another game development job, because someone could hear, oh yeah, this person, that they're gonna, you know, they're gonna tell on people, they're gonna tell on you for doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have like that, yeah, that those employees who are just, you just stay quiet and don't want to mess anything up, that want to like risk losing their job, because you know they have families, and that's their career, and you know they have a lot riding on it. So it's just, it's crazy. And then you have so many people at the top who are, you know, straight white men, you know, and when you don't have enough diversity and in the top of the food chain, you know, it's like you just don't have different views about things, or you just don't know. I don't know. It just there can't really be any change until that's changed, until there's more people of color hired at these game development studios, and more women especially. It's just, yeah, it's wild, like this whole thing.
You know, it's such a situation that I've been in before, where it's like, oh my god, you should totally go, you know, write for this place because they need some diversity over there. And I'm just like, okay, so when I go over there and I start writing, you know, diverse topics, who is going to be looking at my work, right? Who's going to be editing this? Who's going to understand what I'm talking about? Who am I supposed to talk to if there's an uncomfortable situation, right? And so like for all the women who are here, I don't know that I would even encourage women to work in like big game studios unless there's something there, because sure, you get the job, but then what happens when you get the job and no one is at the top to protect you? This is literally what happens, and it sucks. I'm gonna move on a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Same subject, kind of. So there was a sit-in protest on World of Warcraft today, where a bunch of players got on a role-playing server and they got together and they began protesting Blizzard. Also, my other question: do you guys think that a part of the reason that these fandoms are so toxic is because the environment of the company?
Well, I think this kind of excuse me, this kind of puts the light now that, like, you know, when you get all those people complaining on social media, like, oh, like I don't play this game anymore because it's so toxic. I mean, like, this kind of just shows you like the people that work there just about the same as the people. Yeah. So they probably
exactly.
Yeah, they probably see these messages, you know, they'll see the messages between players, they'll see someone saying something rude and horrible, and they're like, yeah, it's just a game. Like, you know, this game is made to have fun. Person got mad. That's all it is. So like you kind of just, you hear this and you're like, okay, they actually don't care. So
yeah, these companies, they're not really doing much to foster like a safe and caring community like other games do.
Yeah.
Right.
I was think about it. Yeah.
I was even going to add too. In the case of WoW, it may, for the average player, it may not even necessarily have been the toxicity of the upper management of Activision Blizzard that have fostered toxicity. I think that might have just come on its own. That being said, when the people at top are this way and are this toxic and just seem to be just so lackadaisical to the whole situation, it allows it to fester and grow in the community. And, you know, for some people who knows that they're being enabled to, and then they'll just keep being worse and worse because they're not being checked.
Yeah, I just kept thinking like, well, obviously this is why they don't give a fuck when you complain. You know, when you make all these complaints about the, you know, horribly misogynistic or racist things and comments that people are saying in these video games. Of course they don't care, because they're doing the same shit when they're making the fucking game. So like, hello, of course they don't give a fuck. How many of you guys, this is totally different topic, so anyone who was waiting for that to be over, it is now over. How many of you guys were able to pre-order the Steam Deck?
I did not attempt it.
I was,
No.
because I did it in the first 48 hours.
Are you guys not interested, Brendan and Greysun?
I'm personally not really. Yeah, I mean, I heard you. I since I wasn't here last week, I did hear the podcast last week. It seems interesting enough, but I will just kind of like echo something that I think either you or Kellie said, that that first option, the $400 option, that's not an option for Steam. That's if you're only like playing indie games. Like that's not enough hard drive space or gigabytes to like reasonably download games so you can play in your Steam Deck. Oh, and also, Joe, I'm gonna agree with you that that touchpad is probably gonna be trash because they had a Steam controller and that touchpad was also trash. So I don't have much faith in the Steam Deck one being good. I'm just throwing that out there.
You know, they say they learned from it, but I was just looking at it
We'll
and I was like, that does not look like a fun time at all. But with that segue, Brandon, you were missing last week. Can you please, if you have anything you want to tell us from last week that you weren't able to, now's your chance.
Oh, sure. So I just covered all my Steam stuff right then and there. Nicktoons games you guys were talking about last week. Just to give a little extra information, it's being made by the same developers as the game Slap City, which apparently is a really good Smash clone, which I think is the reason why so many people are above this one, because it was weird that this licensed game was like getting more buzz than other ones, but then people say, oh my god, the developers actually know what they're doing, and they're doing rollback netcode and then whatever. It's like that's why I think why the memes has come up. But anyway, Psychonauts 2, I also don't know Psychonauts 2, but I guess if an invincibility mode was their way to make an easy accessibility mode, great, cool, because not all games can just do an easy mode. It's not just like a thing you just plug in or just like hit a switch to make it. So if invincibility is their way of making it easy and accessible to everyone, great, cool. Again, I don't know Psychonauts 2, that's all I can really say. And the last thing I guess from last week is the Persona thing. I just want to clarify something that was said like last week. Technically, they didn't say Persona 6 was like one of those announcements, but let's be real, one of them is gonna be Persona 6. So that's like splitting hairs, honestly. I'm excited what the announcements end up being. There's like, you know, a lot of them coming up in the next few years. Maybe some Switch stuff will be coming, like older games coming to modern platforms. Maybe some stuff for Persona 5. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens. Like I really got into Persona with 5, and I want to see what they do next. There's still a lot of possibilities in there. And that's it. That's everything I had to say from last week. We may continue with this week.
So Gabe has a wonderful article at hpcriticalgaming that you guys should check out. We're going to talk a little bit about the subject matter on that one, and it is about how eBay confirmed to Kotaku that the listings that were up for the Steam Deck prior to its release violated the pre-sale policy, and they were going to be removed. And if you guys aren't aware, for the Steam Deck, the way that pre-orders worked were that if you had made a purchase for a pre-order, if you made a purchase on your Steam account before June 17th, I think, or July 17th, one of those dates.
It was
June. Okay, so you had to have made a purchase before June 17th on your Steam account to be able to pre-order the Steam Deck. Do you guys think that this is a way to be able to help stop scalpers from purchasing too many consoles in the future? Do you think that this is the beginning of something? Do you think it's a good idea? And for anyone who wants to know what Gabe thinks, you can head over to hpcriticalgaming.
You say that so they have to have a Steam game purchased?
You have to have made a Steam purchase prior to June 17th to be able to pre-order early.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea to like, I mean, it might not like fix the problem, but it's definitely like a good step to take. Like making sure that the people who actually play Steam and play PC games have access to like this console before like these random scalpers do that want to buy like 100 of them, you know, and then put them on eBay for whatever price.
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna echo that. Like, it's a good preventive measure. It won't completely solve the problem, but I'm just happy that if anyone takes any kind of steps, man, because we've just been going so long. Like, these scalpers are thriving because there's no steps being taken. So any step forward is a good one. We can obviously do better, but man, progress is progress, man. I'll take it. These scalpers need to just go somewhere that's not here.
Oh no, go somewhere that's not here. So, can I talk about entertainment for a little bit?
Let's go talk about entertainment.
Okie dokie. So the Good Place's Jamila Jamil has officially confirmed her entry into the MCU with a kickin' new She-Hulk combat training video from GameSpot. She's going to be the new She-Hulk. How you guys feeling about that?
Awesome. I'm down to see some She-Hulk. She-Hulk is one of the most underrated Marvel characters, and I'm excited to see her in this.
Yeah, I'm super pumped.
I'm glad we got a casting because, like, you know, we've been hearing about She-Hulk for so long. Like,
Yeah, we have.
I think even before we were getting into Infinity War, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you know, She-Hulk's coming," and it's like, "Where is she?" And then finally, it's like, "Here's your member." I'm like, "Yes!" So it's cool to know that, you know, they're finally the casting is done. We have our She-Hulk.
Yeah, lawyer adventures.
So more casting news that we got. Leslie Grace, one of the stars from In the Heights, has been cast as Batgirl in DC's Batgirl movie for HBO Max. How do you guys feel about that?
That's awesome. I love the performance in The Heights. Hope she does a good Batgirl.
Yeah, I'm
Who did
not
she
really
play?
into DC.
She played Nina.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not into the DC universe. So I just hope she does good. I hope she does good.
I probably won't watch it, to be honest, but
I'll watch it in passing.
I love that both Greysun and Gabe were like, yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah.
Like, I wish I had more to say about it, but like, I don't know. Like, after I think it was Batman versus Superman, like I was like, I'm done trying to give, you know, DC a chance when it comes to movies. It's not.
I think
that
was definitely their low point for sure, though.
I definitely think a couple of more things that came after that were their low points. Like,
nothing was as bad as that one.
The Justice League before the Snyder cut, I heard so much I didn't even know that movie was out, mind you. First of all, like, people were like, "Oh, did you watch Justice League?" I was like, "Isn't that movie coming out like in 2 years?" Like, no, it's been out for like a month. I'm like, I don't know shit about Justice League. I haven't heard about that, so I don't know. And then again, I think like the fact that people were fighting so hard for another director's cut of the movie is, you know, that shows you how bad the original movie.
Okay. So one of the reasons that people were fighting so hard for this was also because of what what's his name?
Joss Whedon.
What Josh Whedon did to a lot of the actors and a lot of the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just like, oh, this movie's so bad, we need a director's cut. It's like the one black guy in the film had his entire fucking like backstory removed from the actual movie, like not in the film at all whatsoever. So when you watch the Snyder cut, it's like, holy shit, like this is a completely different film.
Yeah, Cyborg has a character arc, actually.
Exactly. Like so it wasn't just that it was like that bad. It was that Josh Whedon made these specific decisions, and there was I don't even know if it's still going on, but I know that there was a battle between Josh Whedon and the actor whose name I can't remember right now. But also her. She was also one of the people that was talking about her experience on working on the film. So, and all of them were talking about their bad experiences working on this film. So it wasn't just the film itself. It was actually Josh Whedon and his decision-making choices that were causing people to understand that this movie was not the movie that was meant to be published or put out. And even Zack Snyder himself had, I believe, mentioned that this was not the movie that he intended to make. So yeah, but
I mean, that also kind of just plays into how bad the movie was. So
that is all not even what I wanted to talk about this. So Denny the Villain at all. Denny the Villain on Twitter said, while this casting, speaking of Leslie Grace, he said, while this casting is cool, I'm noticing a pattern of usually somewhat racially ambiguous light-skinned women being cast as traditionally white characters from comics and gaming, and I hope more projects consider dark-skinned women for these roles. So I'm not gonna go into this. Anyone who's actually talked to me already knows that I love In the Heights, but you also probably already know how I feel about the casting for In the Heights, especially for the lead roles. I'm not gonna go into that conversation. But what do you guys think about that tweet? Do you think that there's some merit to it? Do you think that it's not necessarily true? Like, how do you feel about it? If you'd like to answer, you don't have to.
I don't know. I guess recently we have seen that happen, but I'm just happy we're getting any POCs at all, to be honest, in these roles. So, I mean,
I'm kind of feeling the same. By the way, like this just reminded me. Has anyone watched like Batwoman, the CW show?
No.
There's a Batwoman show?
There is. It's season 2 just ended a few weeks ago.
What the fuck?
I actually quite like it. It is something that I thought was pretty cool. Like season 1, the main character was played by Ruby Rose. Obviously, there's a woman, but she's a white woman. But then, you know, she left the show at the end of season 1, and then for season 2,
with that gorgeous black woman.
Hell yeah, she is, and yeah, she became the new Batwoman.
Oh, that's cool.
New black woman.
You gonna say Black Widow?
I was not gonna say Black Widow. I was gonna say Black Woman. I was like, damn it, that's not what I would say.
So I actually
Oh.
disagree with both of you. I don't think it's enough because it goes back to that article that was written at Kotaku about I can't remember the exact title, but the one that said that your white woman is no longer progressive. I 100%
That was
agree with
literally
that
the
article.
title.
Oh,
that
was
was,
it?
Yeah.
That was the title word for
Well,
word.
there you go. And that is
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
feel about this. So I don't think that this is enough anymore. I think that
Mhm.
it's time to push boundaries when it comes to these situations because I think that tweet is 100% solid. All of these characters are racially ambiguous, can pass for white women most of the time. And then they'll say, oh yeah, no, we got this, Hispanic woman, even though she can pass as white, but no, she's totally Hispanic. So we're going to check that box off. But I also think that you should not. I'm actually not even going to go into this conversation. I'm gonna move on.
Wait. I'll say something really quick.
Go ahead.
I think it's time to just start making new characters for these
That's
people.
what I was going to say.
It's, because one, you're not going to please, not like you're not going to please, but you're going to get those, those a-holes that as soon as you change the skin tone of a character that's well known, everyone's like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So just make a new character. First of all, make a new character just, so it not that it fits, so you can create your own background for them. I'm sorry, Drew, I said that really wrong. But, create a new character that has their own original background. Like we've already heard the stories of Batgirl. We've already heard the stories of oh yeah, because now they've been talking about making the next Superman black. And we've already heard Superman's story 1,000 different ways. Start making new characters and just make them black, make them people of color. It's okay to create new comic heroes and stuff.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
I'm very scared of what the question is, but yes.
I was just gonna ask who is supposed to make these characters.
Exactly, which is a whole another dilemma within the entertainment industry. You don't
the white
get
guys who
people at
made
the
these
top.
other characters. Are they supposed to now make POC characters?
No, that's what I was about to explain. Is like that's one of the whole big problems of the entertainment industry is you don't have black people or POC colors, POC people at the top. They're not given the opportunity to get up there. So I don't know. I guess maybe we do have to bully the white guys a little bit until they start. You're like, oh, we might as well, just let everyone else's creativity start coming in. I'm telling you, this is a little off topic, but I'm not saying it works, but I've seen bullying work. So if we start bullying these people,
oh my god,
this has serious give me your lunch money vibes.
All
hold
POC
on,
just
okay,
need to start bullying all the white guys to make
Just go
If
one of these game studios, find the white
you're gonna
CEO,
bully the white
give me your
people at
lunch
the top to give you, to get black people and POC people to get more opportunities, it has to be led by white people.
Okay, because what happens every time a black person has to complain about not being represented?
A finger goes into their face.
So how do you think they're going to bully any white people? So you're right.
No, I'm saying the white people.
I
the white people have
right.
to lead it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I am agreeing with you. I just think that the reason I wasn't going to say all of this is because I think there's a really big cycle here, which is like, yeah, sure, ask them to make more characters of color, right? But they don't have to. It's not their job. In which case, then you're saying, okay, well, POC, if you'd like characters, you got to go make your own. Which, like, okay, sure, let me just get up and become a fucking like Marvel person right now and start making my own. Like, it doesn't work that way. So it's a very interesting cycle that I didn't want to talk about. So I'm gonna move on again. With I don't know. I'm moving away from entertainment. If that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to the entertainment industry.
Okay, so Valve says that the Steam Deck is built to avoid stick drift.
Nice.
I was hoping that would be a.
It just seemed that entire headline just feels like Steam was just hitting like some Valve was hitting some like low hanging fruit. And it's like, people are making the Switch comparison. Hey, by the way, it doesn't drift. Mic drop. Done. Just move out. That entire headline just felt like Valve just like they're just patting themselves on the back like, who got him?
Yeah, it's like something we would expect. I'm like, well, yeah, it shouldn't have drift, so you don't have to
is this supposed to be a big deal? Like,
yeah,
Nintendo messed up with their Joy-Cons. It doesn't. That doesn't mean you just get like, whoop,
yeah,
But at the same time, I also like it's It's okay. You know what it's like? It's like when remember back when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 first got revealed, and the Xbox One had that whole DRM thing where you couldn't share your games, and then PlayStation did that video. It was like how to share your games. Thanks.
Yeah.
Now see that at least had character to it, because that was like a cute little 30-second video where they just like, this is just like headline that they thought was going to have the same effect, even though they didn't do any of the charming stuff.
It's
so
so interesting that you brought that up, because it's the opposite now.
It is.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I never connected the fact that PlayStation did it and now Xbox is like, we can do that too. That's crazy. They were like, fuck you guys, like years later. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Karma.
I love that. I love how the tie turns. It's just hilarious. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
This article is from Kotaku.com. That was the title of the article. They mentioned that they used high quality components to ensure that drift is not a factor in there, or at least to reliable. It says we picked high quality and reliable parts to avoid the risk of stick drift becoming a problem with Steam Deck devices. And they also mentioned that they've done a lot of testing beforehand. There's a comment right on this article that says you cannot avoid drift, it'll happen eventually. Do you think that this is just like, do you think that their testing was enough? Do you think this is like a foolproof thing? Do you think using higher quality stuff is going to make sure that your stuff doesn't drift? Or do you think it's inevitable and this is just save face before their product comes out? How you feeling?
I think I've said it before, but the Nintendo Switch was the first ever console that I ever experienced any type of stick drift. So to say that it's inevitable, I don't think that's 100% true, because like when I play games and there's an analog stick, I am very aggressive on that analog stick. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't lightly move the analog stick. I have to like all the way, like no matter what game I'm playing. And I did that on the N64. I did that on the GameCube, the PS2 controller. It was just that's all it was. And I never had a stick drift problem.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because even the N64 with Mario Party 1 with the damn rotating games, the sticks wouldn't drift. Like if you played enough, they would break if you played that enough, but they never drifted. My N64 stick never drifted once.
Yeah, mine's never broke either. Like I've never had a stick drift problem or any type of analog stick problem until the Nintendo Switch. Like even my 3DS, which I played Smash Bros on, and I think I've explained on this podcast before how aggressive I am on Smash Bros. Again, like that analog stick is being beaten to death, and I didn't.
I can't believe that you played so aggressively in 3DS and your circle pad never broke. There are some people,
and it works perfectly fine too. Like
that's crazy.
Like, I don't have to like.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, so I genuinely think I think Nintendo just somehow. The stick drift was so bad, it just leads people to believe now that also the PS5 I believe was having stick drift problems.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Switch is like, definitely not the only.
But they were made by the same company, right? The PS5 controller.
But even prior to, just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean that this hasn't happened before. Like it definitely has happened in the past. So like it's not just a Nintendo Switch or current generation issue. Also, oh my god, so many jokes that I'm not gonna say about everything you just said, Gabe.
Yeah, you gotta be jamming that stick drift, man. Jamming that stick.
And then it's just gonna go right into why you. Did anyone else have anything to say about that?
Yeah, what we were talking about.
All right, well then I'm gonna move on. No, it's totally fine. I'm gonna move on. So there's another article at Kotaku, since I'm talking about Kotaku so much, they're never gonna hire me. There's another article at Kotaku that's titled 2K very quietly launches new XCOM game that looks like shit. So there's been a lot of discourse about the title of this article. I just want to know your thoughts on the title of the article.
Okay, honestly, I think. Hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the title of the article might be kind of like, what's the word? I don't know, like a little rude. I think I read the article. Like I read Kotaku like every day, so I read it before people even got like butthurt about it. But I think the content of the article was fine. It was someone making an opinion about a game that they played. It's it's an opinion piece. Some people might have said it was like rushed, like you should not have been quick to judge it, but that was early impressions. And if you read the piece, that's what it was. And I think it's okay to like critique a game because as journalists, that's what we do. But I guess having that title, what did it say? It looks like ass. What is it?
Shit.
Oh, it looks like shit.
Yeah, that is just kind of like, okay, you don't have to say it looks like shit. You just said, hey, this game doesn't look good. This game looks like, not great or mediocre. I just think that's my only issue with it, just the title itself. But I think the contents of the article itself is fine.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with it as well because based on what I've seen, yeah, the actual content of the article, just in general, like we're all journalists here. We all have our own opinions about the games, positive or negative. We have to speak what our truth based on what we see, right? I also feel that the title was just like, it's not misleading, certainly. That's definitely not its issue. It's just the fact that Kotaku, I've seen a few people talk about this themselves, and I kind of agree with it. That Kotaku was like striving to have like, less toxic environments and whatnot. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening here, but like the fact that just the first statement is just like ripping on game devs, just saying, yeah, your game looks like shit. Now read our article. It's just like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It paints a negative impression before you even read it. It's like it's getting clicks for the wrong reasons, in my opinion.
So I heard the game actually does look like shit. Like,
look, that's all. Look, I'm not saying it don't. I'm not saying
I
that.
heard that.
Yeah. No. Like, I'm to reiterate and be perfectly clear. Everything that the article actually said is perfectly fine. I would even go as far as to say it was pretty well written. I'm just not a fan of that title. I think people are right to be outraged about the title, is all I'm saying.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with y'all, and I know that's gonna sound really horrible. But I kind of take the stance that Greysun explained, which is like, it's a feature piece, right? I don't think it's okay, to shit on devs, but
yes.
I also don't know that, and this might be just me being super thick-skinned or naive, but I also don't know that if I made a game and Kotaku wrote that my game looked like shit, like, I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm probably just gonna be like, fuck the guys at Kotaku, and then send my game over to someone else to review or work on it from there. I think a lot of people got mad for these developers. It's 2K, right?
Yeah.
2K is not like a small developing, like, they are fine. Yeah. Like, they're not gonna they're not gonna go cry in a corner because this title said that, right? I think that I really don't think it is as bad as people were making it out to be. It's like, okay, 2K very quietly launches new XCOM game that looks like shit. Okay, they probably did. Like, that's like, okay. And you know what? I also can't talk shit about it because I've come on this podcast and talked shit about games that I also think look like shit, right? I've published articles from our writers that say this game looks like shit. Like, we've had shit in the title. And I think it took one person to be offended by the title and then more people to jump on the bandwagon. I don't think this is an individual attack against a person, right? I think that's very different than saying, because I could write an article right now that says I played Legend of Zelda and that game's like shit.
Why you can't use any other example, man?
As soon as Jarrell started struggling for it, I was like,
yeah, I was like, he's gonna say Legend of Zelda.
It's because I saw
his game is right there.
Hat. It's because I saw Brandon's hat, actually. And it was Zelda. So I could write an article and say, well, I think my title's going to be, what's this last game?
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword looks like shit. Here's why. And then I go into a feature about why Skyward Sword looks like shit. Should I be lambasted because I think the game looks like shit?
Yeah, and it's not like you're attacking developers. You're making a critique, like you were saying. You might be attacking the game, but it's not like that's such a big problem. You're just critiquing it. You're like, you have problems with it and you want to let people know. And I think that's how developers are they make better and better games, because they're learning, hey, people don't like when we do this, this, and this. It just helps everyone. You're not like saying, oh, this developer, Joe John, he sucks at making games. Like, no, we're not saying that. We're saying, hey, this game feels like shit. It looks like shit. The characters are shit, or whatever it is. And that's, okay. That is a critique of it,
But that just brings up a point to my end. So I'm all about critique, because you're absolutely right. Critiquing is what makes games better. It's what makes individuals better. However, there has when you're critiquing someone, I can tell you from personal experience and like non-personal experience that an individual is a lot less likely to take critique if you're not tactful about it. Like if you lead off with an insult that you look like shit, well then you're just gonna, I don't give a fuck what you have to say then. If your title says if your title says your game looks like shit, it's like, well, then I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
Oh my god, he said
Like
it twice.
it's just like
So intimidating.
the rest of your writing could be immaculate, could have actual advice or whatever and how to make your game look better. But if I'm reading this like I'm 2K, like I'm not even crying. Like I'm 2K, I'm like, oh god, well fuck these guys then. I'm just gonna do whatever. Like I'm just, they're not even gonna read the article because that's what they led with.
And I actually feel like that's fair, right? I
Mhm.
think that that's completely fair, but I don't think that the author should be lambasted for their decision. And that is because
and I actually coming around to your point of thinking on that, because yeah, you're right. I'm just saying that from the perspective of like improvement, they're just not going to listen if that's the case.
you make the conscious decision to title your article like this, you know what it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to views. And like, if we're being honest, everybody needs the clicks because we're all trying to get paid for the job that we're doing. And if
Right.
you know that titling this article with something that you believe, I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. And I feel like a lot of people have just been like, oh my God, this is horrible, blah, blah, blah. Now, you just will have to, I think you're just going to have to accept the consequences for whatever you write. And as long as you can do that, then that's fair game. We had an article about Death Stranding. I thought Death Stranding was going to look great. Somebody wrote that it was going to look like shit, and I'm sure that was in the title. And I spoke to them before, and I was like, are you sure you want to publish this? Like, these are the possible ramifications of what you're writing. And they were like, yeah, this is what I believe. And I was like, okay, it's your opinion, it's your feature. People can talk to you about it if they want. People are going to read the title. Some people are going to be turned off by it because they're going to think it's unprofessional and unacceptable. And I feel like, yeah, sure, you can go into the realm of what is professional to publish and what's not professional to publish, especially for a site like Kotaku, which I do feel like there is a fair criticism when you say, like, I think it is a fair criticism when you think about it coming from Kotaku, based on what you said earlier, Brandon, because that article that I was talking about earlier from Kotaku was an article that I thought was very prevalent, which is, your white women are not as diverse as you think they are. That's the same website that's publishing a title that's like, this new 2K game looks like shit, right? So everyone is, there's so many people involved in this, and I just thought that it was such an overreaction. I thought it wasn't great. Let me clarify, I don't think it's great to say that your game looks like shit. That's just not nice, right? Like, I agree with the fact that that's not nice. I don't think that I would personally write and title my article like, this game looks like shit, unless I'm specifically going for clicks, and I know people that do that, right? So if I was like, hey, I need some clicks for HPCritical, let me write this and say, wow, this new Zelda game is trash, I don't know why anyone likes it, and then my title is going to be, why is this Zelda game trash, come read. And then, people are going to lambast me, but I'm getting paid either way. I just think it was so ridiculous. Like, I don't even think the title was that horrible. I think it's so different than being like, this specific developer is trash for making this game versus this game looks like shit. How many YouTube videos are titled that way, right? Like, how many do we watch all the time where people are just lambasting on something because they think it's trash? Like, it may not say shit in the title, but like, people do it. Whatever. Gabe, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I do. So I love the title, and I feel like anyone who's listened to this podcast is expecting an answer. And the second thing is, we keep talking about, the developers and the critique. If this had been a smaller company, a smaller dev team, I would understand. But it's 2K. 2K, for anyone unfamiliar, they make NBA 2K and some other couple of games I can't remember right now because I actually don't like 2K.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, I don't even think you like 2K.
Yeah, which again, if knowing that, now you kind of know where I'm going in this direction. If you're 2K and someone says your game looks like shit, I don't think there's any room for you to be like, boo-hoo, because you're known for graphics. If any, your games may suck ass. Your games may be clunky and clacky, and especially the NBA games, maybe some of the worst. What is it called? It's not game direction. The controls, whatever. The gameplay itself might be all weird and shit, but the graphics themselves are always very good looking. So I don't know. I agree with I like the title, like the way the title was written because it's letting you know, 2K just stealth dropped the game and it looks like shit, which tells me as a reader, like, yeah, I'm gonna click on it, but also tells me as a reader, like, well, maybe this is why 2K stealth dropped the game because they know it looks like shit, but they wanted to bring it out anyway. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so I love the title. I do agree with some of the points made about, Jarrell saying, the title definitely brings in clicks. Brandon saying the title may be a little too harsh. I think the title is like, if the title had said 2K's just stealth dropped the worst game in a couple of decades and it looks like fucking shit, then yeah, I would have been like, hey, whoa. But they said what they said. It's a feature opinion.
What's the difference between the current title and the title that you just said, except for Takeoff, it looks like fucking shit part? 2K
What?
just stealth dropped the
Okay.
worst game in a while. Is that more acceptable for you guys?
Are you asking me or asking them?
I'm asking all of you.
I feel like
Worst game in a while.
professionally, yeah, it's worded better than again having a profane word in your title, but like,
Yeah, it's a more boring title. Like, I
yeah,
probably wouldn't
Yeah.
click on that.
like you know how
Right,
many
click on
games,
regular
I
one.
think are the worst game made in a while, like. But I don't know. To me, like the fact that they said, they worded the title the way they did. One, you guys keep saying it's obviously a feature piece, but you also get to feel how strongly that person feels about the game and how it looks. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of times we want to, people tell you like when you're a creator, when you're a writer and all that stuff, like, stick true to yourself, but then they want you to write a certain way. And it's like, so do you want me to stick true to myself? Do you want me not to? And I feel like, the writer was like, hey, this is how I feel about this game. And I'm going to say it exactly how I feel.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to go colloquial with this? Like, are you talking to someone that you know and you want to write as if you're speaking to that person and you want to let them know? Yeah, because I would totally text Greysun and be like, bro, I just played this game. It's like shit. But am I going to am I going to write an article and be like, oh, fuck, I just played this game and it looks like shit. And that's my first sentence. And I'm like, I personally would not write an article like that.
That's what I like about
depends on your
Kotaku.
audience. Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about Kotaku, where they just have, these writers have their little blogs and they just kind of write whatever they're playing about. Like, I see a headline in a title or a picture, and I kind of get an idea who probably wrote it. Like, oh, this is Ash. This is Nathan Greysun. These are these like journalists that I look up to, and they write the coolest shit. Like they'll have like titles like, oh, this game's character creators is ass, and I love stuff like that. Like, and they go into detail about why it's bad and because like it doesn't have enough darker skin tones, whatever it may be, and it's just like. I just love that they're not afraid to publish whatever they have to say, but of course they get in trouble a lot from like Twitter for no reason. Well, sometimes they have a good reason, but for this article, I was like, all of you are getting mad for no reason. Like, it's just a stupid fucking XCOM mobile game, like that nobody knew about until the article got published.
Exactly. So 2K should be saying thank you because now this self-drop trash, everyone's talking about it because of this title. So it all depends on how it comes out. So speaking of, let's stick on Kotaku. There's another article that's titled "Nintendo says Switch OLED profit story is incorrect" by Luke Plunkett. And this article specifically talks about how Nintendo usually doesn't say anything to the effect of what's going on internally, but for once they did. And I want to know, since you guys are Nintendo people, what you think this means. So here's a quote here. A news report on July 15, 2021 claimed that the profit margin of the Nintendo Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to make clear that that claim is correct. That is officially from Nintendo. That was Nintendo's official response. Now, like I mentioned, when these things happen, Nintendo usually does not mention anything about like rumors, etc., unless it's a big deal. And so here's another quote from this article. It says, and this is from when Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa had rumors in 2019 of the Switch hardware. He said, while we are aware that there has been coverage to that effect, we cannot comment in regards to speculation and rumors about new hardware or software. It would spoil the surprise for consumers and is against the interest of our shareholders. So we are withholding any discussion. Now, you guys are Nintendo peeps, right? This is a situation where Nintendo hardly ever mentions anything about rumors. That was from 2019. It's now 2021. They're talking specifically about these profit margins for the Switch OLED model. Why do you think they're going in on this specific situation? If you had to guess.
Well, that's tough to say given the current circumstances, because like you said, they don't really comment on rumors, but I've noticed that Nintendo, when it comes to decisions that either when Nintendo is like, on the quote losing side, like during the Wii U era, and they were very open about stuff that was. What's up?
One more thing. I'm so sorry. One more thing that I forgot. This is another quote. It says, "We also want to clarify that we just announced that the Nintendo Switch OLED model will launch in October 2021 and have no plans for launching any other model at this time." Speaking of Pro model stuff. Sorry, continue.
Cool. Yeah. So concerning the like whenever Nintendo's like kind of like on the losing side, they have to make sure that, and this is not true just in Nintendo, just like true of any company. Like, for example, y'all remember that last D23 where Disney just announced a shit ton of stuff for like Disney Plus or whatever. The reason they had to do that was because they were hurting from the pandemic. So they had to make sure that their stockholders were still going to stay with them. And so they announced way more stuff than they ordinarily would have. It's similar with Nintendo now, where the OLED model, a lot of people are excited about it, but of course there's a lot of people that aren't really feeling it either, because ostensibly it really only helps for the most part if you're playing handheld, excluding the LAN port and whatnot. So they have to get in front of that to make sure that people understand what the OLED is, like why they think it's a good idea. And in a weird roundabout way, they are still quashing the rumors because they're like, oh, we don't have many plans for Switch Pro. That may or may not be true. It's probably not true, but they can't reveal that now. So they're just going to have to not say that there's no plans for it, even if there actually are. There's a story I hear quoted very often where during the DS era, the people were hearing about rumors about a next DS after the Lite, and was like, hey, Nintendo, is there a new DS coming out the DS Lite? And they were like, no. 24 hours of the DSi was announced officially. So Nintendo is just not going to tell people things when it's not ready, even if it means they're just not going to tell the truth. So that's all I'm really taking out of it, honestly.
I feel like Nintendo is just getting really tired of rumors and speculations that have to do with them, because especially this last year. And you know what? I'll throw my hands up. I am very guilty of this. I was fed into the whole Zelda anniversary thing, so I was there with my, rumor. Like, I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to announce the Switch Pro, but then, they're going to show off the Zelda games on it to, show you how good it looks. But I think it's like, maybe Nintendo feels like all these rumors and all these speculations, like it just makes fans expect something that's not, it's not coming right away. And it's like Brandon said, what they might be saying isn't true. Like I genuinely feel, because, they did say they expect the Switch lifespan to be about 10 years. I definitely feel like, in those 10 years, there will be, a very noticeable upgraded Switch, model. But like they said, there's no plans on it now. And I think the reason they say, this isn't true or there's no plans on it is because they've learned over the past couple of years of projects that have said like, oh, we're working on it, it's coming. And then all of a sudden they start hitting hiccups and it just keeps getting delayed. So I don't think they really want to put out there like, hey, we're going to have this ready by so-and-so or in the next couple of years. It's like, we're not going to say anything because we don't want to put you guys' hopes up high, and then we have to delay it or something. And all of a sudden you guys are getting mad at us because what you want is being delayed. So I generally think it's a whole thing of they're tired of rumors. And they're tired of people speaking out on their behalf.
So speaking of things being delayed or things that people want that they haven't necessarily gotten.
Cyberpunk. I'm kidding.
I was not talking about Cyberpunk. Oh my god, I refuse to talk about Cyberpunk ever again on this podcast. IGN has an article titled "Square Enix says the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters could come to other platforms beside PC and mobile if there's enough demand."
Oh my god.
So what does that mean? Like, how do you, like, when you guys hear that, what do you think? And it's crazy to me because all people wanted was this, not on mobile. So the fact that you want, like, what more could you want? Like, people have all been saying, give us this. We think we're getting it. And they're like, just kidding. But, show us that you really want it. Like, what more can we do, Square? Give you your fucking souls? Like, come on.
Whoever.
Go ahead, Gary, you first.
Okay. Whoever the community manager or whoever is for Square Enix must not be telling these people
What's happening. Like,
because
there's no way.
since day one, since that trailer showed, like, it's all that people have wanted. Like everyone was like disappointed in that, like the fact that it's only coming to mobile. Of course there's demand for that. Like it's a Final Fantasy game, just like they're gonna sell. Like
it's a remaster. It's what people been
not
asking
it's
for.
not a random like niche game that came out in Japan in 1990. You know what I mean? It's like Final Fantasy games that everyone fucking loves. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what we have to do to show them.
Can I ask you, how do you feel when developers say that they want you to prove demand for something before they do it?
I mean, I think it's okay for smaller scale things, that projects that they're not sure are going to be successful or not. But I think most of the time it's like a load of crap. I feel like they're going to do it anyways, regardless of like what the fan base says about it. I don't know.
Brandon?
Yeah, so I'm gonna channel my inner Gabe here real quick and say Square Enix is full of shit, and so is Bandai Namco. I'm throwing them into this hat too because they both constantly do this shit, and then think we're not going to take notice. Okay, Square knows that people want this on consoles. There is no fucking way that they knew that this would not do well. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 are console games. I refuse to believe that they don't realize that people would also want to play these games on consoles like they were originally released on. And I'm thinking specifically about the Saga remakes and the Mana remakes, how well those are doing on console platforms. And you're telling me that they don't think the Final Fantasy games 1 through 6 would not do well on fucking consoles? Nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What they want is the same thing that Bandai Namco wants, is they want people to be like, it's only on Steam Mobile. I guess we'll buy on Steam Mobile. And then a few months later, they'll be like, it's coming to Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Like, damn it, now I gotta buy it there because that's where I really wanted it. This whole if there's demand means buy it on our other consoles, aside from the ones you actually wanted on, and then we'll give it to you on the console you actually want it on. And I'm not doing it anymore. I refuse. I am not purchasing these games until it comes on the console that I request. I'm sick of this, man. Like I've done this too many times.
Not anymore, damn it.
No more. Nah, I want to play 1 through 6. I do, but I ain't doing it. I am not. They are not going to. I am not biting that bait. I'm just gonna let that sit there. When they get when they put the tuna there, then I'll bite it. They can reel me in.
This is the most I've heard Brandon drop F-bombs ever.
No.
Like,
jungle juice.
I'm tired of this nonsense.
He was gone last week, and this week he's like, no, fuck everything.
Turned up. Like, you got double the Brandon.
Oh my god, I'm just really tired of their nonsense, man. Because it's the most nonsense I've heard in like game studios saying, like, if there's nothing, the internet should have given you that demand. Even if there was a chance that they didn't know, you can't come to me and see their post E3 reaction and tell me we don't know if people want this. It's just like, no, you would actually be blind if you no, I don't believe it. It's too unbelievable. I don't believe it. It's a marketing ploy that I'm not falling for, and I hope a lot of people will not.
So speaking of things that people want and would like to believe are happening, retro specialist Digital Eclipse asked fans what it should make next, and they have a lot of ideas. And the tagline here says, I could go for an Outrun remaster right about now, or maybe Tapper. And this is from IGN.com, written by Joseph Knopp. Digital Eclipse is the studio behind remasters of retro games like the Disney Afternoon Collection, The Lion King, Aladdin, Blizzard Arcade Collection, and more, is asking fans what games they'd like to see remastered next. What games would you like to see remastered next, guys?
I don't even know the studio, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Neither.
I don't know.
I'm so glad I wasn't the first one to say it.
Like,
I had no clue they were doing. They did all of those.
Like, do they make Outrun? Is that a game that they make?
I don't know what that even is.
Then cool, yeah, go ahead and make some Outrun. I've never played Outrun, but cool, go for it.
I feel like I'm back on video game trivia.
But serious question. Are these guys like? Have these guys have like a record, or are they just kind of like a remake studio that they're just like taking old classic franchise to remake them? I guess what I'm asking is, do they have franchises that they own that they would remake, or are they just, is anything on the table because they could just remake anything?
What I can tell you is that since no one knows, I'm going to move on. Because we're running out of
Damn.
time, if that's okay.
Okay, I guess so.
Sorry.
Hey guys, make the outrun. I guess it could be fun.
You know, it's really cool. Some of the comments, though, some of the comments have things like the Tiny Toon Adventures and a bunch of like other old school titles that they'd like to see done. So I guess make that. Also, so another thing that you know came from the past is Yu-Gi-Oh! Digital Next. There was a whole presentation. They showed off a mobile game and they showed off a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. Brandon, I know you love Yu-Gi-Oh! So please, succinctly, because we're running out of time.
Yeah. I'll make this quick. And real quick, this was brought to my attention by my good friend Robert. Shout out Robert. They just
literally posted it.
Was that?
I literally
you
posted
did,
about
but
it.
But I know you did. But it first
so
got
why
my
you
attention.
Thank you, Jabril. I care about you, Brandon. Oh my god!
I'm just kidding. Anyway, go ahead. I'm trying to keep this succinct, man. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm just surprised that they stealth dropped this whole ass Yu-Gi-Oh! Direct for like video games, stuff like that. The fact that they have this much in plan is like crazy. It wasn't. I mean, there was like updates for the Duel Links mobile game. That's great if you're still playing that. I don't anymore. There's a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Mobile game called Cross Duel, which is like 4-player duels. I don't know what that's gonna be like. That's gonna be coming to mobile. There's a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Game based on the current Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime. I haven't watched it, but it seems to be using that duel style. Cool, I guess I'll give it a try. But the main one that they were talking about was Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is coming out on literally everything, like PS4, PS5, Xbox, all the Xboxes that they're supporting, Switch, PC, mobile, Steam, all that, literally everything. And literally it's not based on the anime like Legacy of the Duelist was. It's literally just the card game. And it seems going forward they want that to be like their main vehicle of like digital Yu-Gi-Oh! Like that's literally the one they're going to be using for like tournaments. Like obviously the physical card game will still be in play, but for those who want to play digitally, that's going to be the option. So they're trying to make that one as as good as possible and as faithful to the card game as possible. They even said that for like the PS5 and the Series X/S, that you're even gonna have 4K resolution, which is like I've never seen a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game put this much stock in like looking good as it's just like playing the card game. That's pretty cool. It's definitely interesting because anyone who knows me knows I put an absurd amount of hours in Legacy of the Duelist. I don't play the physical Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game anymore. It's just not for me, but I do still enjoy playing these digital Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games because you can just get all these cards without spending more than what you're paying for the game, and I think that's really cool. So yeah, I'll be giving Master Duel a look. Maybe the Sevens game as well. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the art style Sevens, but that's neither here nor there. Master Duel looks really cool though. If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan or have been, I think these games might be enjoyable to you. But I'm done. I don't hear
one
you.
last thing that I want to talk about. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call from.
Phone call.
The last thing I want to talk about is Pokemon Unite. I think 3 out of the 4 of us have tried it. Gabe, I'm not sure if you've been able to try it yet.
No, it's downloaded though.
Okay, so I want to talk about Pokemon Unite because guess what? There's an article at techraptor.net that says Pokemon Unite microtransactions are pay to win, and we don't like that. So I want to talk a little bit about pay to win transactions in Pokemon. I read this article, and the first thing I thought was like, who cares? It's Pokemon. Like, we're just going to have fun. I don't really care if people do play to win stuff. Then I decided maybe it's a serious thing, and I want to talk to you guys about it because I know that you guys are really enjoying the game so far, at least from what you've told me. So let's talk a little bit about Pokemon Unite and microtransactions. So there are 3 types of currency. Well, first of all, Pokemon Unite is a new game developed by Tencent and published by the Pokemon Company. Tencent that owns everything. And it is a MOBA style video game in the likes of something like Smite or League of Legends, except for with Pokemon. So you have a set amount of Pokemon that you get to use. You get to use their special skills. They evolve during battle, etc. And then you got to go across the map collecting points, deposit the points in the opposite team's thing, whatever. And then you know whichever team has the most points wins. That's essentially how the game goes for anyone who has not given it a play yet. That's how it works. So there are 3 different currencies in Pokemon Unite. There are Eos coins, which is a currency that you earn for playing the game and from events, capped at 2,100 per week from battles. There are Eos tickets, which you can earn through in-game events, and Eos gems, a premium currency that can only be acquired by spending money. So there are 3 different currencies. The issue with this so far is that these stat boosting items that are sold, a lot of them require for you to purchase EOS gems to be able to afford some of these items. That's if you don't have enough currency. But because currency is capped at 2,100 per week, that means that you can only purchase a certain amount of special items every week. And someone else who's actually spending money can buy more items, like a potion, for example, and they would be able to heal themselves in battle while you can't afford any more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that was the first issue that people believe is going to make it pay to win, because these items are going to enhance your character or your Pokemon in some way. They're not just cosmetic. So that's one of the first issues. The second issue relates to getting Pokemon licenses. This says, much like other MOBAs, you have to pay to unlock characters, but Pokemon Unite makes the questionable decision to put a cap on earning EOS coins, even where some of these Pokemon can get pretty pricey. They use Gengar for an example. You can get yourself a Gengar in just 5 weeks of playing and not spending any EOS coins, or you can spend $7.99. Now, that was the second issue. I think there's one more issue that I want to tack on here. Let's just talk about those two for now. So one thing I will say is that there are free login campaigns, and when you log in, they do give you licenses, and the licenses are what you need to use the different Pokemon. With the free login campaigns, I will say that I've been able to get, I've already gotten 8,000 of the gems, like in day one from just playing yesterday. That allowed me to buy Cinderace, which was stupid because I get him for free on day 8. But I think that yes, it would take you that amount of time to buy a Gengar if you were just collecting from the cap, but there seems to be, at least in the beginning of the game, there seems to be enough ways to get enough coins to be able to make this purchase. Like, I could technically have bought Gengar had I not bought Cinderace, and it would not have taken me however many days it said. Like, it would have taken me 2 days at max to be able to do that. The thing with the items, though, I completely understand. I think it's kind of trash to cap the amount that you can make as a free-to-play player, and it could be seen as microtransactions as pay to win. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is technically pay to win? Do you not care because it's fucking Pokemon and it's like, who cares? Or do you think that this is a MOBA that's gonna last and it actually does matter? Do you think it's pay to win? How do you feel?
Based on what I've played of it, and I'll keep it quick because I know we're running low on time, but based on what I've seen of it, the items can certainly make it easier for you, but I don't think it's a substitute for the actual skill in the game, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. If you're skilled in the game, it really doesn't matter the items. It'll just kind of like I guess it would only really make a difference if it was like two people of like relatively equal skill level, but just based on the actual mechanics of the game, based on what I played, I don't think it's going to matter as much as I think that people are making it out to. It matters, but just not like in a huge way. And as far as getting the Pokemon characters, I think because a lot of people aren't used to like playing like free to play, especially when it comes to Pokemon, they're not used to the idea of just like not having access to everything right off the bat. But I don't think the game is really even built upon you having every single character because you're not even going to use them all. It's very much almost like Killer Instinct in that regard, where Killer Instinct, you could just like essentially get the game like in a rotating pass, and then if you like the character you could purchase them in that regard, which I thought was an interesting way to go about it. Pokemon Unite is kind of the same. You'll get some licenses for free, and other ones, if you really want it, you can pay the currency for. I think it's just really going to depend on the individual player, but as far as me personally, it doesn't really bother me too much. Like, I think that it sucks that you have a cap. I will say that does suck, but I think you can still earn enough to get what you want at the end of the day.
So let me also add to this a bit of this Reddit thread that says, you can play for a bit and enjoy the game. It's extremely fun, etc. But the items, you'll quickly realize that those items are tide turners. They increase your damage percentage, your movement speed, your healing output, and your healing receive, passive healing, and much more. So if you are not spending money, you would essentially not be able to do all of those things once you're kept off. And that is kind of a big deal when you're playing against someone, no matter your skill, when you're playing against someone who can move faster than you and they can heal themselves. I think. But also this Reddit thread also does mention that once the welcome campaign is done, it's going to get much harder because of the cap. And I should have realized that. And I did say that I could have gotten Gengar, but like, once this is done, there's no way I would wait 5 weeks to get Gengar. This is completely correct. So I don't know if that changes your opinion, but you can continue. Or Greysun, you can tell us how you feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Brandon on some things where like after playing for like a few hours so far, I don't ever feel like pushed to like spend $1 or anything. I've been able to like unlock 1 or 2 of the Pokemon licenses in the shop, and then and I do have several like of the items that you can held items already, and I have like
same.
2 slots already. So I've been upgrading them too, so I can technically already heal myself and choose something that gives me extra speed or extra attack already. So I don't see like myself having a disadvantage in a large way. I don't know. I guess maybe when the introductory stuff ends, it will get harder, like you're saying, and I'll have a different opinion. But for now, I'm having fun with it, and I don't like spending money in free games. I never bought like I played like probably 20-30 hours of Fortnite. I've never spent $1, never bought a battle pass. Like I don't care about cosmetics, so I'm just kind of like playing until I kind of just don't want to anymore.
With that pirate Captain Cinderace, man.
Some of us have learned our lessons, while others are ready to spend $400 on a gacha. So we'll see how that works.
At least it's
For
not
Gogeta,
a gacha.
bro.
At least you know.
Super
At least you
Saiyan
get what you
4
pay for. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
I would have been inclined to agree with you guys until I found out that the items do all of that. I do feel like no matter, like, I can have the fastest character, but if your Pokemon is going to move faster because of items that you purchase that I can't afford to purchase because I'm capped, kind of shitty. That's just, but I'm enjoying the game. So the truth is the only thing I would spend money on, I can't, which is the clothes. They won't even let me buy the fucking clothes. Like, I don't care about buying items. I want to buy those cute ass clothes, and you can't purchase the clothes with real money. So I gotta play the game. Like, it's like they know. They were like, the one thing people are gonna want is customization. You gotta play to get that. I'm like, fuck, that's like, I just wanna buy it, and I can't. So I'm very sad. Anyway, it's about that time. So
Gets so solemn so quickly.
it's because I don't want.
someone just die.
I don't want to end. I love talking to you guys. I could talk to you guys for another hour, but then people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, your podcast is so long. Shut the fuck up." I'm like, "Okay, well, you shut the fuck up." Anyway, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.